Hey guys, before we start this episode, we just wanted to plug a couple of things that are coming up in our lives. The first thing is the Sex Ed at OSS. It is going to be on Friday, December 30th.
Yes.
Thank you. Gorgeous. So it's going to be on Friday, December 30th. It's this time. It's going to be a fetish BDSM sort of intro course. I know there's going to be a fashion show. I know we're going to have some couple of rooms. I think there's going to be some potential for some basic shibari work, and then also we're going to get to see some live action flogging.
Yeah. So it's very much an intro kind of thing, and
to wet your whistle.
Yes, and there'll be a lovely fashion show, so it'll be great to come out and see some
so
sexy
excited
people.
for this. This is going to be so much fun. We may, if we have somebody from the audience that wants to be a volunteer for one of either the shibari or the flogging, we may pick somebody from the audience. That would be really nice. That could be you. But definitely look at Our Secret Spot's website, www.oursecretspot.com.au. and check their events page. You can pre-buy your tickets for that. Again, it's December 30th, the eve of New Year's Eve. It's going to be a rockin' night.
It's going to be a big weekend.
It's going to be a huge weekend.
Yeah.
Fireworks will explode, and they're not going to be the only thing that's popping in my pants. Please don't put fireworks in my pants.
No, let's not do that.
Oh, I said that, and then I was like, I wish I hadn't said that.
Yeah.
But we have something else coming up, don't we?
And what is that?
That's the Pendulum Party. I'm so excited. So
February 17th.
February 17th, again, a Friday at Our Secret Spot, because, it's the only place in Sydney to be. It's going to be a pendulum party where you're allowed to swing both ways. If you are bi-curious, if you're hetero-flexible, if you're hetero-accepting, if you're homo-flexible, if you're homo-accepting, if you're homosexual, it doesn't fucking matter what you are. It's going to be a place for both men and women and everyone in between to kind of come together, find a place where you can be safe, you can explore your sexuality. There's going to be glory holes, there's going to be big open playrooms, there are going to be little private playrooms, but it's going to be a place where you can go in, you can sort of test your limits, find that thing that you've always wanted to try or always wanted to do. If you've ever wanted to have a guy go down on you, well, I'll be there. Or if you've ever wanted to go down on a guy, I'll be there. If you're a lady and you ever wanted to go down on a woman,
I'll be there.
And if you've ever wanted to have a woman go down on you and see how it feels, I
will be there as well.
It's going to be great, and we'll see you. That's, again, February 17th.
Yes.
And you'll be able to buy your tickets for that as well on www.oursecretspot.com.au. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So
I look forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And you're going to hear us talking about this a lot in the future, so suck it up and listen to it.
I look forward to Glory Hole.
It's going to be great because there's going to be both boys
so
and girls in the Glory Hole.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Anyway, so thanks. And here's our episode.
So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all shirts all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The Glory Hole's like a dick theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime.
We're not sluts.
We just love love.
Hello, this is Mrs. Atom.
And this is Mr. Adam.
And you're listening to us here on By the By.
What up?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy this week, so you'll just have to deal with it. Sorry.
Me too. Yeah, we've gotten the Sydney crud or a summer cold.
Sydney summer sickness.
I don't know. Sydney summer sickness. It's S-cubed.
Yeah.
So we're both a bit under the weather. And it's the end of the weekend, so we're both kind of tired from the weekend. So how's it going?
Good. Do you want to talk about what we did on Friday night?
Yeah. So
because it was kind of awesome.
What we did, who we did. Yeah, it was an awesome night. We went to Our Secret Spot for their meet and mingle. And they... the meet and mingle is always fun. It's always nice to talk to people and meet like-minded people. And we talked to some really interesting folks there.
Yeah, it was good because there's usually folks that we've seen before, and so some familiar faces. There's always new people that we've never seen before. This time there was a couple there that we had actually seen at Hellfire months ago.
Months ago.
And then just I haven't seen him since, and then ran into him at the meet and mingle, so that was kind of fun. It's always just a good mix of people, and
So it's a crossover meet and mingle kind of thing now,
Yeah.
where it's our Secret Spot and Red Heaven Events are hosting the meet and mingles together. I guess they're hosting them together. I'm assuming so. It's both groups that happen to be at the same bar on the same night. Anyway,
Right.
it's on the second Friday of every month.
yeah, it's always a good time to get out and talk to people, and then follow up with a visit to the club.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
good times. I would highly recommend giving it a go, giving it a check out. But this time we were also meeting some friends at the club. It was one of our friends' birthdays, and she wanted to have a very special birthday, and I think she did.
I think so.
So I think we'll fast forward ahead, because for me the night culminates when we're up in the big orgy room with the two mattresses,
2 king-size beds.
two king-size beds that are side by side, and then a huge shower room. And at one moment I took a pause to take a breath, to look around, and I counted quickly 18 people in the room. 14 of those people were having sex of some sort. 2 of those people were naked, just looking for a place to jump in. And the other 2 were standing in the door with a "oh my god." And I found out later that they were actually on a tour.
Oh no.
Yes,
That's
so
funny.
one of the
Well, welcome to the club.
I know, right? So when I was talking to one of the
Oh.
fellas that works behind the bar, he was like, "Yeah, so I was giving a couple a tour, and I came into that room, and I turned around and looked at him and like, well, this happens sometimes."
Oh, that would be so bad, especially if they were, well, because they
If-
would have been new.
Yeah, so it was their first time
And
at
so
the
they
club.
would probably think that that's typical. And
Yes.
honestly, that's the first
That
time
is
I've seen that many people.
Atypical,
Yeah.
and that we've been to the club a number of times.
Yeah.
It was kind of amazing though.
It was funny because we were on one side of the king size bed. There were 6 of us that were kind of playing, and
Yeah.
3 couples, I guess. So 6 of us that were kind of playing together. And when we started in there were 3 people on the other bed.
Yes.
And I knew that some people had come in, but admittedly my back was to the door, and I didn't realize there was quite so many until, like you said, I kind of looked around at one point, and there's just like this mass of bodies
It
next
was
to
amazing.
us.
It looked like this. 'Cause you and I made some fun because it was a bit like a sorority as well. Because there was a lot of girls that were kind of screaming in that obnoxious high pitch, like Woo Girls. I don't know if
Yeah.
you watch How I Met Your Mother, but the Woo Girls. And there was a bit of that, which is a bit of a distraction. The last thing you want to hear when you're trying to have sex with somebody is "woo." Hey, I went off
And you
my levels.
probably blew out everyone's eardrums
It's
right there.
awesome. You're welcome.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, you can spank me later. So that's a bit much, but it really was kind of amazing to take a pause and look around, and you're like, oh look, there's some double penetration going on over there. There's double blowjob going down over there, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But then there was that one guy that was sort of sitting in the middle of the whole group naked, and he was clearly not with anybody.
Yeah.
And he was just, I felt, part of me, I don't want to make fun of him because I don't want to make fun of anybody, but part of me felt a little sorry for him because he's sitting there with a condom on, but
Yeah.
he was like really flaccid.
Right. But he also wasn't making a lot of effort to
No, he-
join in. He was
yeah.
just kind of watching. And
Yeah.
and
But I don't
it's
know,
that
it
whole
seemed kind of-
voyeuristic side
yeah.
as well, too. Some people just like to sit and watch.
But the little wholesome, like,
But-
I've got a condom on, but it's
Yeah.
just in case,
Right.
kind of made me smile.
Right.
But it was fun. Good times.
Yeah.
God, it's still, that one goes in my memory banks as one of those, holy shit balls, this is actually happening
Yeah.
kind of things. Yeah, so that was a good,
It was a good night.
Friday night.
And I hope she had a happy birthday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, happy birthday. So what else has been going on? Are we talking about what we're talking about this week?
Yeah.
Are we jumping into
Yeah,
that?
let's jump in.
This, we've got another catch up over all the shit we've been doing over the last few weeks, but
Yeah.
what we thought we would do this week is talk about our rules and boundaries and what happens when one of us breaks them.
Yeah. So, and the reason why we decided to do this is I mean, admittedly, we don't have very many rules and boundaries. I can think of 4 rules that we have. We'll list them out here in a minute.
I hope so, because I can only think of 3.
There's one I think it's more of an unspoken one, but
Okay.
so we don't have very many, but we do have a few, and they get bent here and there, but usually after discussion or at least some kind of communication before they get broken. But it is something that we do from time to time, like to revisit the rules and boundaries that we have, because they can change as we change, as our relationship changes, as the people that we're around change. It over time, it's not always going to be the same. So we wanted to talk about the rules and boundaries tonight, because it is something where, we sometimes will bend them and break them and whatnot, and usually after discussion.
And alcohol.
It's usually after alcohol, but also there's some kind of either discussion or communication, verbal and nonverbal, before we do.
Right.
Because most of the time that we've bent them, it's our one rule of playing on the first date.
Right.
And that's usually both of us there together. And we wanted to talk about it now because not only have rules been broken lately for us, but also we have a couple friends that we know a rule was broken for them. Don't know any details about that, but it happens, and so we want to give people an idea as to how to deal with that, because it can be hard. I know, whenever, it also depends on if Mr. Adam breaks a rule and I'm out of town particularly, it's harder for me because I'm not here. It's one thing if I'm in town, but when I'm out of town, it kind of makes me wonder, why do we bother having rules? Is it really worth it?
Spoiler alert, I broke the rules.
We already said that. I already said that.
No, you didn't. You said
Did I
we.
not?
You kept saying we.
No. Mr. Adam broke the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and why are we having this conversation now, dear?
Because Mr. Adam can't follow rules.
Yeah. Rules were made to be broken.
So there's always the question of, how do you handle it? What do you do? And so for us, it's a good chance to evaluate what happened at the time and understand each other's thoughts and where they were coming from at that moment. And, was it just a one-off thing, or is it something that we actually need to revisit our rules and make adjustments accordingly? So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so you get to sit in on a conversation that we've actually been storing this up for a while.
A couple days.
Well, it happened on Tuesday, and it's now Sunday.
Yeah,
Ooh,
but I was also out of town.
That's
for a
true.
bit,
I mean,
so.
we could have talked, though. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we wanted to sort of do this, air quotes, live, so that you could see what it looks like for us. Do I want to give backstory, or how do we want to do this?
I think it's good to start off with your side.
Okay.
With your story and what happened from your perspective, because my perspective, there's nothing to it.
Because all right. So I may have gone out, and for the record, folks, when I say may have, it means I did. But I may have gone out on Tuesday night and met some friends for some drinks in the city. And while we were sitting there, this young lady walks in, goes up to the bar, orders a drink, and really all three of us sort of commented on her when she walked in. And then she goes up to the bar, and then she comes over to near where we are because she needed to charge her phone, and that was the only plug-in that the bartender said was open. So she plugs her phone in, and it's one of those long tables, and she's sitting down there. And after a few chats back and forth, we find out that she's backpacking through Australia, going to be down here for, 5 weeks. And so the three of us started talking to her, and one of the other fellas asked her if she wanted to sit down with us, and she did. So we all sat there and started talking, as you do. And then I think we were probably there chatting just for an hour and a half, 2 hours. It could have been longer, or it could have been shorter. It was enough time it was probably shorter because I had 3 pints of beer sitting there. And then so the other couple had to leave because they had tickets for a concert. And I started just talking to this young lady, and we were going to go to Max Black. We go to Max Black. And of course, Max Black is closed for their Christmas party.
I didn't know they ever closed. Wow.
I didn't know either, but I have a picture of the saddest thing I've ever seen, which is a dear happy customer. We are closed until tomorrow for our own Christmas party,
Aww.
Which I respect. Good for them. They need a Christmas party too. I bet that Christmas party is amazing. Anyway, but I digress. So we say, oh, what do you want to, what should we do? Well, let's go find another bar. We'll have a couple more drinks. And at this point, honestly, my goal for the night was to come in, have a few drinks and then end up going to the sauna. And then that was it. But so she and I went to this other bar, and they had 2-for-1 drinks. So even late into the night, got to remember that one. And one of their 2-for-1s was Cosmopolitans. And I'm a Cosmo boy, love a good Cosmo. And the bartender was really nice, and he was cute. So he made us a couple of Cosmos. Those went down like a snap like that. So we had another Cosmo. And then that's when the bad decisions started. And when I say bad decisions, I'm going to be honest. I don't regret really anything that I did. What I regret is being not as communicative with you as I should have been. That was, when I look back on it, like our rules, which you want to take a step back and list those 4 rules?
Yeah.
So our rules, and I'll let you say.
Always use condoms
Yes.
for protection with other partners. And that we
Don't play on the first date.
Don't play on the first date.
Yep.
And
Don't let someone spend the night.
yes, so not only don't let someone spend the night, but someone doesn't come to our apartment without either an established relationship or
Right.
the other partner knowing and being okay with it.
Right.
And then the other one is that your partner always has veto power.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, but that makes perfect sense, of course. So those are our 4 hard limits, typically. So at this point, I think I had texted you that I was like, oh, I think I could pick this girl up. And you were like, but I'm still thinking of going to the sauna. And you were like, I think you should do both. Or the night's still young, you could do both. And I was like, you are totally correct. And then, so we had the other drinks at the bar. And then she was like, what I'd really like to do is, find an alley and let's just make out for a little while. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I'm like, all right, that's kind of, there's something.
As if it's going to stop there.
And exactly, I'm sort of thinking that as well. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm not against getting a blowjob in an alley. I mean, I'm not a classy guy. But I'm like, all right, that sounds kind of cool. And I gotta be honest, she was, I think, pretty. I think, she was pretty. She's pretty. She's young, which to me is one of those two. I don't know. I think as I get older, age to me means a lot more, which I know is silly. I understand it's silly. She was of legal age, but in her early 20s. But I don't know. It's just kind of like getting attention from somebody who is that much younger. It's like, oh, okay, I still got it, kind of thing. And I think I'm sort of learning now, the older I get, how important that is. Because I know I don't have the best of confidence and whatnot, but to get that, I'm like, oh, wow, she's actually into me. That's something that's kind of nice. And so, and plus for somebody at a bar, because I know I'm good over text. Mm-hmm. I can be suave and debonair over text. That's easy, because I can really think about what I'm saying. But in a bar, I don't have a filter. So then I guess the question would be, did you think that because we have the rule that you don't sleep with someone on the first date, did you think that that was going to be okay, or did you think that you were going to establish a relationship enough to have another hookup with or another meeting? So I'm going to be honest. When I was having the beers, I was still cognizant enough to go, oh, this is great. She'd already said she was in an open relationship. She was the first to kind of talk about that, and then because I was with people who are also swingers in an open relationship. And so, we found that kind of fascinating. And then I thought, yeah, this will be great. We'll set up this will be the establishing time. And then the next time, something else will happen. After the second Cosmo, I was not thinking with my cognizant brain. I was thinking with my animal brain. And it was like, I really want to fuck this chick. Mm-hmm. That's honestly what I know. I mean, I am not going to argue that. And at that point, I think I did know that our rule was not hooking up on the first date. I'm gonna be honest. At that point, I don't think I didn't care. I didn't care. But at the same time, I was like, all right, of our rules, when we look at the hierarchy of those rules, that one's low. Yeah. That's the low. Yeah. That's the bottom. That's the bottom.
Least important.
The least important of the list. Because the way I would rank them are condoms, veto power, spend the night, hook up on the first date.
Right.
That's the way I sort of would have racked them before, but admittedly, I would have forgotten veto power only because, well, yeah, if you say no, then I'm like, all right, kind of thing. So we end up finding some little alley, and we start making out. I'm like, oh, this is really kind of hot. This is cool. And so then she unzips my pants, and about that time, this poor lady's walking a dog, and we were like, all right, we should probably get out of here. And I said, you know, where are you staying? And she was staying with, she had people that she was staying with. So I was like, all right, well, she doesn't want me to go back to her place. I was like, well, why don't you come back to my place? And at that point, I honestly didn't think about the logistics of getting her out of my place. All I was thinking of was, I'm going to take her. I'm going to take her to my place. Yeah. So we jumped in the cab and made it here. You know, it's funny, the things, because again, at this point, we're both pretty drunk. And the cabbie was even like, you're a lucky man tonight. Like, thanks. You've been listening to what we were saying in the back seat, which of course he did, but anyway. So we get up here and grabbed a bottle of wine, because that's what you do when you're drunk, you drink more. Mm-hmm. Opened a bottle of wine.
I hope it wasn't a nice one.
Oh, it wasn't, of course not.
Okay.
It's one of the cheap, it was the butter. Yeah.
Because when you're already drunk, you don't want to.
No, it was just a cheap Chardonnay
Okay.
out of the fridge. And so I'm smart enough to do that. And so, you know, we had talked back at the bar. We had talked about baths. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, do you want to take a bath? You know, it's only 11:30. And she was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I'm like, all right, this is a way for us both to get naked and in the bathtub. So don't question that. So me, being romantic me, I light all the candles in the bathroom, start the bath, and that's it. No bubbles, but just the bath. And so we hopped in and we talk, and it was like really good conversation. And it was, you know, she's easy to talk to. And this is the funny part of the story. So she leans back, and anybody who knows our bathroom, we have 2 layers of candles on the back shelf of the bathtub. And there's about, 7 candles per layer, so 14 total candles. She leans back and then leans forward, and there's a little bit of fire.
Did you catch her hair?
She caught her hair on fire. And so I went, your hair's on fire. And she goes, what? And she went to put her hand back there, and she goes, holy shit.
Dunk.
Dunk.
Yeah.
So she put herself out by dunking herself under the water. Think fast. Of course, you know, because, you know. And then, so the long and short of it is, we progressed to the bedroom, from the bathtub to the bedroom, and she spent the night. Mm-hmm. Next morning, breakfast, and gone. So that, admittedly, I look back at it now, and I'm like, yeah, I fucked up. I wouldn't have. I don't think it would have been as bad if I'd have been more communicative, but
it also wouldn't have been as bad if you had had sex and she had left.
Yeah,
the staying the night really, really bothers me.
I understand. I mean, I do, but why?
Because
I mean, I understand that you're upset, is what I mean, but I'm not exactly sure I understand exactly to.
Because for me, especially on a first meet, whatever, sex, hookup, fine, it's easy, it's done, whatever. So you have a strange person staying in the house that you've never met, you know nothing about other than what they've told you, which who knows how true that is. And there's also more a level of intimacy there, because the only people that we have stay the night are very good established friends, and that's only happened a handful of times. And even when I was single, I didn't like people to stay the night because of that. Because then, you know, people get more clingy and whatever, and I don't like that. So I would say for me, it's those 2 things. But a hookup is one thing. Staying the night is a big no-no for me.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think I don't know.
And so then to backtrack and put a little bit of my side, there was very little communication. So all I knew is, I knew that Mr. Adam had gone out with friends, and he texted me that you had texted me that you had met this chick, what you said about,
Yeah.
I think I could pick her up. And admittedly, when I said, the night's still young, you could do that and the sauna, you could do both, I'm thinking you go back to her place.
Right.
Because, everybody's staying somewhere, right? And I didn't know, I did ask you, was she a visitor or
Right.
was she a resident? Because you had said she was from out of the country, and I said visitor or resident, and all you said was visitor. So I'm thinking she has a hotel room.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, most people come and they have a hotel room. And so then you said something, and that was it. That was all I heard until you said something about going back to our place. And I texted you, and I said, why not her hotel?
Right.
And then I didn't get a reply until the next morning.
Yeah.
So
Honestly,
there was nothing other than that.
I did not see that until, and I looked at my phone.
Well, sure.
You don't, I mean, I have no reason to lie.
No, I just think that you either saw it, didn't see it, didn't think to respond because you're drunk and you're like, oh, whatever. And
Yeah, fair
don't think
enough. But
about
we
it.
also know how the coverage of Optus is in Australia,
know.
and I've
Yeah.
had that. I mean, I have no reason to lie, and I was looking at my phone. Speaking of which, I
It's-
just got a text.
No, it's fine. It just that I know being drunk, but that's also
Right.
so that's also one of those things that, and this is a difference between you and I, is that if I'm out by myself, I'm very cognizant not to get stupid wasted drunk because I like to be aware of my surroundings and I like to be a little more in control as to what's going on. Whereas you kind of just let go and you don't really care what
That's
happens.
true.
So there's also a difference there in how we approach just being out alone.
Right.
And so then you're much more likely to drink a lot more and make bad decisions.
I would agree with that. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I do understand where you're coming from. I would not, if to do it again, I probably wouldn't have invited her over. But at the same time, I think, I don't know.
So if I went out to a bar, you're traveling, I go out to a bar and meet someone and bring them back and they stay the night. And there's no communication whatsoever on my end. What do you think? How would you feel? What would you do?
I would feel worried, but I'd be like, oh, well, because we've had those times where you're out and not responsive and I'm traveling. It was admittedly earlier on in our relationship, but you were unresponsive, and I'm like, well, I really hope she's alive, but I can't do anything about it.
But would you have a problem with me bringing someone, first of
Like
all,
now?
bringing someone back here? Yeah.
No, I would not.
And them staying the night?
That wouldn't bother me, honestly.
Why? Why does it not bother you?
Well, would ask the same argument on the other side.
But I
Why
already
does it
told
bother
you
you?
why.
I know it doesn't bother me because if you bring somebody back, I'm pretty confident that you're making good enough decisions that you know that this person isn't going to kill you or isn't going to burn our apartment down or take all of our stuff. And talking about sleeping overnight. When I'm with a new person, we've talked about this before. I don't sleep well.
Yeah.
I sleep very shallowly. So anytime a person moves, I'm awake. Just because that's the way my sleep pattern is.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to bring somebody home, I'd be like, oh, well, it's more fun if we do it on FaceTime and I can watch. But I wouldn't.
Yeah,
Those
and
are
you
two
did- and
rules to
you-
me that I look more as those are extremely soft rules, and they aren't like the other two, which I see those are hard rules.
I see the first date one as a little softer, but having someone over and especially staying the night, those are pretty hard for me. I don't like to bend on those.
Yeah.
And and just playing devil's advocate here, what you said about not sleeping well when you have somebody over, then my question is, well, why do you want them to stay over? Because then you're not going to sleep well and you're going to feel like shit the next day.
That's true, but at 1:30 in the morning, do you kick somebody out
Yeah.
and say,
You do. Call them a cab. Here you
"Yeah,
go.
I know," but we all aren't like you. I mean, I remember.
And there's taxis aplenty in Sydney at 1:30 in the morning.
I remember.
Think about how many people coming over the bridge, and those taxis have to go back.
I remember our first dates.
Mm-hmm.
Where you like your men like you like your bottles of vodka gone in the morning.
Yeah.
No, I get where you're coming from. And I know, I look at it now and I'm like, okay, I would not do the same thing again. But if you wanted to do that, I'd be like, okay, That's, again, that first rule is for me, both of those are soft rules. If we want to look at it and say, all right, let's readjust those and make the first one a soft rule and the other 3 hard rules, then
I would also say, though, that if we're going to make the sleeping with people on the first date or first hookup, meetup, whatever, a soft rule, I still think that there should be communication between partners.
I agree. And that's, like I said before, that's something that's where I feel bad about all of it. I mean, I now feel bad that you're upset over me having her spend the night, but, I think, again, the part that I really regret is the lack of communication. Mm-hmm. That was the mistake, in my mind.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Because, I mean, if I had had more information, if I had known that, maybe she didn't have a hotel room, but even so, the staying the night thing wouldn't change. I could understand then you bringing her back here, mm-hmm. but not staying the night. That, to me, I just don't understand, because that's something that we've talked about before, and I thought you understood how strongly I felt about that.
Yeah,
but
I didn't.
Clearly I didn't communicate that well enough.
No. Yeah, I agree. Because I didn't. Because I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, this isn't that big a deal. And clearly it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I
see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I can see the first date thing being a little softer, but I still think there needs to be communication as to who you're with, anything situational, anything other than I've met somebody, going back to our place.
Yeah,
and then nothing until the next day.
Fair enough. No, I agree completely.
Are you okay with the not having people over being a hard rule? Not staying the night, I mean?
Not staying the night, I'm okay with that.
What about bringing back, bringing someone back to the apartment when you've either just met them or you don't have permission from your partner to do so?
I'm okay with that as well.
You seem hesitant.
Well, because the question is, define just met, which I know what you mean by going to the bar. That's a just met. Mm-hmm. But how many times do you see somebody before you?
I think.
Or is it just that somebody we've talked about?
I don't know that there's a specific number to associate with that. I think it's more just someone that you've had some interactions with. You've either chatted with a bit, you've met up with a couple of times, even once or something. But right. Yeah, that we've had discussions about, there's this person, I'm interested in them, yeah. and just that we're both comfortable with them and that they seem like a decent person.
Okay. So I'm curious too. Let's look at this from another point of view. Mm-hmm. What if she was in a hotel and I spent the night with her at the hotel? Is it the sleeping or the sleeping in your nest?
In my place. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have a problem with you hooking up with someone and staying at their hotel if I was in town.
Well, yeah.
But if
I wouldn't have done that.
But if I'm out of town, then I don't really care where you stay. Just don't have them to my place.
You're so romantic.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my world.
Yeah.
I only want people coming into my world that I know and like and want to have here.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's almost like us and our Facebook friends, because you tend to friend everybody on Facebook, and I only friend people that I would actually let into my house. And
remember that, folks. If you're a friend of hers on Facebook, you're a lucky motherfucker.
Yeah. But that's my world, and I only want people here who I want part of my world. That yeah. I'm protective of my world.
I can appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So and another thing on the first time kind of rule.
Yeah.
So while I do appreciate because that rule is one that both of us have started to bend a lot stronger on.
We tend to bend it more, so let's go back and review the times that we've bent it. We've bent it when there's been someone traveling from out of town.
Yes. That
we have talked with and chatted with a fair bit, and we know that their time here is finite. And so we know...
And by talked with and chatted with, you mean at a bar, not digitally, not over text.
Digitally, yes, both, and also at a bar, both. Because we had chatted with, I'm thinking of a couple from the States.
Oh, yes.
We had chatted with them quite a bit digitally, and then we met them in person, and we're like, yes, you really are nice people. We're really interested in you guys. And so, so we did sleep with them the first time we actually met them, but that's also because they had only a finite amount of time here.
Right. Okay.
So there's that. There was a time recently where we met a fella at our local bar, and he was just passing through, basically, and I think he was leaving out the very next day. But again, we were together, and we communicated about that. It was
Right.
like, do you want to? Do you want to? Yeah, sure. And so there was communication there, and also I think it helped because we were together, because it was a first meet. Of course, when somebody's traveling and they're the one on the road, which I guess that's a distinction to me, is when you're the one on the road, then it's fine, because, what else are you going to do? If you're going to hook up with somebody, you're not going to have, like, one meet and then the next meet.
I love. Hang on, I just love that, because what else are you gonna do? Well, I mean, we also have books. We could read.
But if you're
There is
gonna-
the interwebs.
But if you're going to hook up with
I know,
somebody and you're only
yeah.
there for, say, 3 days, I mean...
Arguably,
you
I
know.
understand where you're coming from. It's just
Yeah.
kind of funny when you say it that way.
And I guess this isn't something we've talked about before, so I guess this is a good time to, but when your partner's on the road and you're the one at home, I still adhere to the first meet rule, like not hooking up on the first meet. Even though your partner's not there, I still think that if I can meet someone for the first time, but I'm not going to hook up with them until another time after, I still adhere to that because I'm the one at home. But that may just be...
What if they were traveling? What if,
Like-
let's imagine a situation in which, you meet someone at a bar, you happen to go to a bar, because let's
Yeah.
be realistic. You are not going to look online. You don't
No.
have the apps on your phone. You're not going to look online for somebody just for a hookup. So the
Yeah.
only way you're going to hook up with somebody is by bumping into them at a local bar, having a good conversation with them. So let's say I'm traveling, you bump into somebody at a local bar, male or female, doesn't matter, and you find out that they're flying out sometime tomorrow. Do you then bend or break that rule?
The only way I would do that is texting you or give you a quick call or something and just say, hey, I've met this person, this is what I know about them and I'm really interested. Are you okay with this? But I wouldn't just do
Okay.
it. No.
Yeah.
No. I'm a lot firmer with rules.
You are a lot
Yeah.
firmer with such a little dictator, adorable little dictator.
No, because I mean, to me, that like the rules are the rules, and you're the one who's not generally a rule breaker. You won't cross the road if the walk sign's not lit up.
Fair enough.
Apparently, we just need to get you drunk and let you cross the road.
It's not even that, because for me, it's a relationship thing. Like, I'm much looser on relationship rules than I am on rules that are presented by a law enforcement group, or something that's for my safety kind of thing. I'm much stronger on those rules.
And do you think it's not a safety issue to have a strange person back to your house?
I mean, it's not like this person was a linebacker. I'm not gonna now. You made me go all sexist. I know. I'm not saying. I mean, yes, she could kill me, but if you're gonna die, it should be in something sexual. No, I don't know. I never felt like I was in danger. I mean, and I know, which is the curse of people who get murdered by Dexter. Next thing you know, I'm duct taped to some table, wrapped in cellophane, and I'm getting a scalpel to the cheek with a bit of my blood on it. I mean, I don't know. I never felt like I was in danger, and so, which is why with you, I really trust you more than me on judging dangerous situations, because you are very good at judging dangerous situations. But I don't know. It's just, for me, yeah, I never feel like I'm in danger. So, all right, it's cool. But walking across the street, it's dangerous. You never know when a car's going to come around the corner and hit you.
Sure.
You can mock me.
I still
all
say
you
that
want.
I know I understand the car thing, but I still say there's just as much danger having a strange person into your house, because that person could grab a frying pan and hit you.
Well, yes, but you would have to find where our frying pans are, and we are usually really good at keeping them, in the right cupboard.
I think 90% of the people have their kitchen set up the exact same way.
Oh my God, we need to change our kitchen. Fine, that's just, you're right. A frying pan to the face. All right, so damn it, we've gone on a tangent. Let's leave the kitchen out of it for a second.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that first hookup thing,
Okay, yeah.
First meeting. So, you're okay with it if one of us is at home and the person is traveling, that the traveling person can hook up.
Yeah.
So let's imagine a situation where you're at home, and this has never happened, but I can foresee it possibly happening. You're at home, and I decide to go into one of the saunas.
Mm-hmm.
Is a sauna a hookup?
I don't know. To me, a sauna is different because that's. I mean,
Is that like going to a brothel?
It is. It is like
Okay.
it's a hookup, but it's like that's what you're there for, is to have sex, and you're in someone else's place. You know, you're not in your own place. So
But
to
still,
me,
it's
to me, a sauna is different.
Then I mean, that's not much. I know I'm splitting hairs here, but I'm trying to figure out
It's not
exactly.
different than a brothel.
Okay, how about is it different than hooking up with somebody in a bathroom at a bar?
I would say yes, just because of the venue.
I just think it's interesting because the venue is designed for sex.
Yeah, yeah.
So then, like a sex store,
If you go to a sex club,
sex club, or sex
Yeah.
store, or like a swingers club, or
I'm okay with that.
okay.
And also because at those times there's usually communication around, hey, I'm going to the sauna or I'm going whatever, and I mean
Right.
I know what you're gonna do there. I mean that's not and but
I'm an artist. I could draw those people.
right. They'll be like little stick cartoon people.
Draw me like one of your naked French people. Oh, did you say stick people? I'm bad, but I'm not that bad.
No. My drawings would be stick people. I'm that
Oh
bad.
God, this is why we don't play win, lose, or draw. Okay, so
But I think to me it's the venue is different, and also knowing that there's the communication of I'm going to do this. Because admittedly, I mean, you haven't really been, but if you're out of town over a weekend, and granted, I wouldn't, well, I don't know, I might, but I'm going to say I probably wouldn't go to the swingers club without you, although if there were people that I knew,
Christmas decorations.
Christmas decorations, talking with my hands, bad thing.
That's awesome.
But, you know, if I was going with, like, friends or there were going to be
Right.
people there I know, then I'm, you know, if I were
I
to
would
go...
more than support you doing that.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. But that's because you know I know I'm going there, and you know I'm going there.
Yeah.
And that's what it's kind of what the venue is for. But yeah, just random people out somewhere not at a sex venue. I don't know why it's different to me. Maybe it shouldn't be. I'm sure it shouldn't be because it doesn't really make logical sense. But
It's fine. I'm okay. So I want to make sure that I understand because I don't want to. I mean, I'm not a rule breaker. You're right. Don't make that face because you know me. I'm not. But at the same,
except when you get drunk.
well, and it's one of those things. I know it's not. Again, I know it's not a good excuse, but there's something, and I can tell you, anybody out there. I don't want to say other than you, but I think you are one of the exceptions to the rules. That when somebody clearly finds you attractive, even if they're pretending that they find you attractive, there's something really nice about that. I know that not everybody on Earth has ever found you attractive, but it's you are sort of that classic beauty look. You've got the hourglass figure. You're attractive. You're shaking your head over there as if you don't believe me, but I think you could ask the world, and you are sort of in the majority of people's what they find attractive. Not all of us are like that, and I'm not saying I'm unattractive because I know I'm attractive as well. But I think where I gain my attractiveness is my personality. It's not I'm not one of those guys that you see on the street and instantly go, that guy should be a model. But I am one of those guys that people talk to me for a while and go, that guy could be a comedian, or a serial killer. But it's really nice when somebody's saying things like, I find you really attractive.
Yeah.
And
I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying that's
but I
not
think
true.
that's part of that where I broke that rule. How that rule breaking, to let you into my brain, why some of that rule breaking happened, is because that's the first person that I have ever picked up from a bar. I have been picked up from bars while traveling. That's usually how it happens, is I get picked up from bars. But for me to be the person who's like, hey, I'm going to start talking to you, and hey, do you want to go to this next place? And I'm in control. Mm-hmm. That's such a novel idea for me. And I'm not trying to say it's okay, but I'm trying to let you understand where my mindset was.
I do understand that, but I also think that if that's something that you want and something that you want to happen more often.
Oh God, no! That was so much work.
Oh no, I was gonna say, look at go to certain parts of town and certain bars are going to be more apt. You'll be more likely to have that happen. Because admittedly, our local bar, you're not going to have as many single females and whatever
Right,
there.
of course.
So if that's something that you want and you need, then I would say
Don't
go to
think
different
it's
bars.
not something that I want
Yeah.
or need.
I
Like I said,
understand
it was
how
a
it
lot of
feels
work.
good.
It feels great.
Oh, I know. I understand that. But
but-
I still say, use your practical brain. And
Well,
he's back there somewhere.
I killed him.
You
due
did
to
not
alcohol,
kill him.
Due to alcohol poisoning.
Okay, you might have killed him from that. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the end, it is what it is. I am sorry. We hadn't talked about the details of it, but we had established that it is what it is, and it's
Yeah. I mean, it's done.
not permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so.
And it's done. We can't go back and undo it.
Yeah.
But the question is just,
Future.
what do you do in the future?
Yeah. So again, the first two rules from top down, not bottom up, power veto and condoms, I see as those are
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, they're
Ever.
non-negotiable because one's
Yeah.
a safety rule and one's a one's a physical safety and one's a mental safety
Yeah.
rule. And then so the next one down, now because we have 5 rules, the next one down is spending the night.
Mm-hmm.
That is on the breach of non-negotiable, somewhere around the cusp of there's not a breach, cusp of non-negotiable. And then we have
Because the only times that we've had people spend the night are like long-term partners that we're very close to, that I would consider family.
I might argue that. When Tony and Maria stayed, we had met them once, but I mean, I knew I liked them, and I now consider them family.
Right.
But did we consider them family the first time they spent the night?
That's true. No, but I would say also again.
Now they're family. I love them, but
Right. No, that's true. But I think it's also a different situation because they were staying after a party we had.
Mm-hmm.
They were not the only ones that stayed. They slept on a different bed, and we were both here.
right. Sorry.
I mean, I know that's a lot
They slept on a different bed in our room.
Yes, but still. But
I
they
know.
weren't sleeping in the bed with
Right,
us.
of course. I know.
So, I mean, I know that's a lot of caveats and whatnot, but it's just a different situation. And that's, again, one of those times where you talk about it. And
Yes, of course. I know.
And we'd had discussions before they came as, do you care if they stay?
Right.
And,
Of
yeah.
course. Sorry. Now I'm just thinking of poor Lola lady listening to the 4 of us back in that room.
Yeah.
That poor girl. She's a trooper. So, all right. And then next down is having people over.
Yeah.
That is now a softer rule, provided we communicate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the hook up on a first meet. Where do we fall on that?
I would say a softer rule. But again, I still think the last two, there needs to be some serious communication. Yeah. And not just, hey, I met somebody and that's it for the night.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is that also when you're traveling? Like we're both traveling? Like if you're on the road?
Yeah, because I mean, if I meet somebody and I'm going to go
So
take them
this
back,
is interesting. This is actually interesting. I'd be more concerned about you taking a stranger back to your hotel room than I would be taking a stranger back to home.
Why?
So in my lizard brain, if I was going to kill somebody, I know, right? I would not take them back to their house because then I have to figure out for me to get out of their house.
Right.
People might see me that they know and blah, 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 blah. But if I was going to kill somebody, I'd go to a hotel. And I know what you're saying because it just popped into my head. But most hotels' rooms have security cameras and you're going to be on security camera. This is why I wouldn't kill somebody because I would know I'd get caught. But a hotel room is this sterile place that is... You're both on equal ground.
Yeah.
Not one person has the home field advantage. Whereas if somebody's going to try to kill you at home, you know where you could grab stuff to... And
Yeah. And
I know
me,
I'm really
it's-
stretching it out here.
Well, and to me, it's not just. I'm gonna actually say
We're losing
I
listeners
don't.
as we speak.
I know. I don't think it's actually a killing thing. I'm not really concerned about that. It's more just. I mean, a little bit of safety, and I would say security more than anything. Mental security. That again, like I said, that this is my world. This is my place. I don't want some stranger in my place.
Right.
And I'm not, I mean, it's a physical safety concern, yes, but hooking up with a stranger anywhere, anytime, whatever. I mean, there's always the safety concerns no matter what you do.
Sure.
But to me, it's not as much that as it is mental safety and security, and this is my place. I just don't want people coming in willy-nilly, back and forth and in and out. I don't want a revolving door here.
Well,
if we're going to do that, I want to just like go down to a brothel.
Well, number one, that's expensive. And number two, we're not talking a revolving door here. We're talking,
It depends on how often you bend the rule.
How often would we bend the rule?
don't
How
know.
often do I get the opportunity to bend the rule?
I'm just saying.
How often would you bend the rule?
No, I'm just saying that I don't, this is, again, it's a mental security thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not so much a safety thing. Yeah.
See, for me, it's more of it's funny because for me, it would be more of a physical safety thing.
Mm.
Because, like, now people know where I live and they could come cut me.
They could.
It's like I grew up in some gangsta part of town. I didn't. I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
But those sheep are mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add
No,
to that?
I'm not sure where we even started. We got went off so many tangents tonight.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But so are we, do you think that we're on an
I think so.
even playing field mentally where we are?
Yeah.
I would agree.
I think so.
We're not mad at each other.
No. I'm not mad. I don't know about you.
I'm mad mentally. I feel a bit crazy, but
Yeah.
All right. It's good crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a question?
Well, I think we sort of answered the question because the question that
Because we rambled on and
I
on and
know.
on. Hey, for folks, whoever's still listening out there, thank you so much.
So the question that I had for this week was, when did you reach your first hard limit? Whose was it? How did you cross it, and why? I think we've pretty well answered that, and I think also, we do have some other softer limits as well, besides just the hard ones that we clearly crossed and redefined. But it's like one of our softer limits is that we typically don't have sex in different rooms because we like to, when we're with either a person or people, we like to be in the same room and see and whatnot. But sometimes we've been with a couple before or something's happened and somebody goes into the other room, and that's okay.
Well, yeah, even that first couple, it's funny because you excuse me, you mentioned that couple coming from the States.
Yeah.
She and I stayed on the couch.
That's true.
And you guys went back to the bedroom.
Because I don't know that they really played together in the same room.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
So,
but,
Yeah, so we did split up then. And so that's one.
But even then, I was like, I don't care about it. And then, I know recently when we had Highlander over. And you and he were in the bedroom.
Outlander.
And Highlander, Outlander, whatever. There can be only one. Every time I hear Outlander, though, I think We Have Your Woman, which actually is apropos. So maybe we should. I think Children of the Corn, not Scottish love drama. So when Outlander was here, I left and got some water, and I'd bring glasses of water back. So I'm leaving the room constantly.
Right.
Because I don't feel like you need my constant.
Yeah, but that's an example of like a softer limit that we do sometimes cross, and it's it happens.
Yeah.
But I would say this was probably our first big hard limit, the one that we've had that I can think of.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Not bad. First one in 3 years.
4 years.
Well, not yet. 3 years and 11 months.
Well, we've been together for 4 years. We're not married, but...
Oh. I'm counting marriage.
Oh, okay.
Because before that, I was playing the field.
Right.
We all know you were the one that was playing the field.
Yeah, we both were.
Huh?
We both were.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the question of the week, and I think we pretty well answered.
We pretty
that
well
one.
did. Yeah.
We went off on a lot of random rambles, and I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, there you go.
That's our listeners. They're troopers.
Yeah, that's
that's the level of our arguments. You just sat through probably our most heated argument over the last 6 weeks. Don't you agree?
Yeah. So that's this is a good example of limits and rules and when they break. I mean, there's a lot of ways to handle it, but just talk about it together as a couple. Figure out. I mean, it happened. It sucks. It's terrible. But figure out where to go from there.
Yeah,
and don't give up. Don't say, because I mean, even sometimes I'm like, oh, is it even worth having the rules? And yes, it is. But because I think there's both, physical safety and mental safety, and I would say that the mental and emotional safety between our relationship is probably equally important there. but there is a reason for them. We just need to make sure that we're both on the same page. And even if we, and tonight we happen to revise our rules a little bit. That doesn't always happen.
No.
Sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
no, you broke the rule and we're sticking with it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it again.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too. It's, I do feel bad. I will say now I don't feel nearly as bad as I did on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. I don't know if you know, but I was beating myself up pretty badly on Wednesday. I felt really bad. And I think part of the reason I felt bad was you weren't mad at me. You were disappointed, but you weren't mad. Yeah. And so, I was, I'd fucked up. But it is, I can't change it.
No.
The past is written in permanent ink.
Yeah.
But I like that you and I
also-
can have these kind of discussions that we don't. Neither one of us. I mean, we're on a podcast, so neither one of us can slam the door and walk out of the room.
No.
It's bad for our listeners. No, but it's
A very one-sided conversation.
right. And then she said, but I think it's important though to have that kind of argument, that you can have a discussion that's not really an argument, but you have a discussion where, don't walk away, don't let your partner escape.
And be honest, because the other thing too is you could have not told me any of this.
Yeah.
I knew some of it, but you could have not told me all of it. And that doesn't gain you anything.
Well, that would have been bad.
Yeah, that would be bad because, then you're not being, honest and open about things, but it's going to come out at some point.
I gotta be honest. For me, not telling you ranks up there with not using a condom. Like that's like I couldn't not do that.
Yeah.
That's just not how I work.
Yeah.
Or it ranks up with the veto, ignoring your veto power. Like that's crazy. I can't not do that. I have to. That would be bad.
Yeah.
But I have those rules that are like firm in my brain.
Yeah.
At least I have a couple of rules that are firm in my brain. And I'm a bad liar.
Yeah, you are.
Shut up. So, all right. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's we've rambled on and gone off on enough tangents today, and we probably should.
Yeah. So, as always, and as a side note, for all of the positive responses we got from the coming out
Yes.
episode, God, thank you guys so much. We had some lovely emails. The Twitter support was amazing. We really, really appreciate the positivity that we've gotten from that. And we recently had an article written about us on mamamia.com.au. It's been great. So we definitely appreciate y'all out there. If you want to email us and ask us your questions, give us your comments, send us your rude remarks, send us an email, theatomsoflove@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at By the By Podcast, or you can find us on our website. That's www.bytheby.com.au.
Thanks for listening to us, guys.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.
Right.